Guys, welcome back. I have a lot of people that ask me, they tell me, hey, I watch your videos all the time and you're doing so good, I'm really enjoying the content. And the next comment is, I don't know how you do it all. So I wanted to bring you along because I have one more thing that I need to do real quick to finish up getting kind of the summer out and the fall in. I've got one more thing I need to do, so I wanted to bring you guys with me. So this is how I get it all done. I'm on a 30-minute timer for my lunch break. I'm fixing to get this started on my lunch break, and then once I get off, I'll be able to come back out here and finish what I'm doing. So here's what we're doing today. We're going to get these peas pulled out. So let's get started. In one of the last videos, we showed you our big, beautiful spider. She's now moved on. So I'm safe on taking all the peas and stuff down that were over here, right in here, because her web was attached to them. So I'm happy to see her gone so I can get these things out. Look what I found. I actually come over here to set my camera up and found this guy. He's getting slow, so he's getting dry. I'll put him back in the garden. Be free, my friend. So here's something we've got to fix this winter before it becomes a problem next spring. When we installed this, we actually put this fence up this year. Whenever we added this bed, about fell over. And we took the chicken wire and the cattle panel all the way down to the ground. We thought we got it close enough to where we'd be able to weed eat, but that's not the case. I had come through here 2 or 3 times and raised the chicken wire up and took some scissors and cut the grass out, but it wasn't something that was long-term sustainable. And the reason it's like this is because we are on a slope, and we started the garden fence over here, right there in that corner, and we had to go that way, and then whenever we got up here, it went uphill. So we had to go with it, which kind of threw it off, because once we come this way and went back down, we were all off. So we may just have to, because, my husband, he's in the military and he's all for, Fort Knox and everything. We may have to raise it up a couple of inches and just put it as close as we can to the, some of like the railroad ties over there and the landscaping timbers over here, because if you've seen it in another video, we got these landscaping timbers that are actually behind this grass here at a dumpster. Somebody had thrown away, stacked up real pretty for us, and we brought them home and made this extra bed. So it was actually for free, and then we got the gin trash to go in it, so that was for free. So we've got a free 8x16 bed. But anywho, this is going to be one of the projects we've got to do, is we've got to fix this fencing problem for next year. So that way we'll be able to get rid of this grass. Because as you see, it has grown over into the garden bed. And this grass, you know, is the one that runs. So I've got to get in here and clean all this out. But first of all, I'm going to have to take that pile over to the chickens or to the compost bin. I'm not for sure. I don't know how much they're going to be able to peck through and eat. But I'm going to come back out here. My lunchtime's almost up, so I've got to come back out here and get this picked up. And I'm going to try to rake back some of this hay out of the way. Finish getting some of that grass over there out. Rake back some of this hay, get this bed leveled up. And remember, we've got those over there, the barrels over there that we've got to dump into here, because this is new and it's settling down. So we've got to fill it back up a little bit and let this decompose over the winter. But my lettuce is going to go in here, my leaf lettuce. So I'm going to rake some of this hay back so I can save it and get that dirt dumped into here, get it all leveled back out, and then we're going to come back and plant it this afternoon. And once we start seeing the sprouts come up, because as you can see over there, let me get you zoomed in a little bit. Hopefully you can see my kale coming in right there and right there. So it's coming up real pretty. So back to over here, I'm going to put lettuce in this bed. Once it comes up, then we can come back and kind of lightly cover it with the hay until it gets a little more established. And then, like I said in several videos, fall is the time to get a new garden started. Because you've got all kinds of free stuff that are given to you from God. You've got all of your leaves that are coming off the trees. That is, and this is the way fall leaves work. Everything, all the nutrition from the spring and summertime were put into the leaves to grow. So they've got all this nutrition in them. Once they die, that nutrition is contained in those leaves, because all the nutrition goes back down the tree into the ground. So all the current nutrition is going back into the ground, being stored for the winter time, so it can save it up and reproduce the leaves in the spring. So when these leaves die, it's like whenever we cut herbs and dry them, all of the nutritional value is still in them, and they die and they're stored in those leaves, such as carbon and nitrogen. And when those leaves fall off, they go down to the ground, and if not picked up, just like in nature, in the forest and stuff, that is ground cover mulch. But as they decompose, they are putting that nutrition back in the ground, so those roots can reabsorb it and it goes back up. And that's how they get bigger and bigger and bigger every year. So we need to take that to our advantage. In the fall time, you need to go ahead and get your bed set up. Get your dirt or your gin trash or your compost, whatever you're going to fill your beds up with, and get them covered with these leaves so they can overwinter in the winter time when it's cold. They can overwinter and they can keep what you have under there warm. So it's going to decompose actually over the winter time because it's going to stay warm. You can also do this for deep bedding in your chicken runs. It will actually stay warm as it breaks down underneath and keep your chicken's feet warm during the winter time. Even whenever it snows, it's going to melt that snow and keep your chicken feet warm and decompose. So in the springtime, if you do deep bedding with your chickens every 6 months, you can sift that out in like hardware cloth, sift it out and get good compost from the bottom of the bedding. And then what you catch, you just throw back out there. They'll scratch it out and decompose it more over the next 6 months. And you just put a fresh layer on top of that to refresh it and keep it at least 3 to 6 inches deep. And you can use that freshly composted chicken scratch, the wood chips, the manure, and it doesn't have to sit where chicken scratch, chicken manure is hot. But once it is on the wood chips and it breaks it down, what's underneath is already composted, so it's already set there 6 months. So you can pull it straight out, use it on your garden, and then restart a next batch and let your chickens do all the work for you. So anywho, since I got totally off subject about that, like I said, I'm gonna clean this up after I get off work and get this hay pulled back, get the lettuce planted, because it's in the 70s today. Tomorrow it's going to be in the 80s, and I need this ground just a hair warmer, a little bit longer, to get this lettuce to germinate. That way it will it'll grow big for when it turns cold here in the next couple of weeks. That'll also give me time to put a covering on it. I'm still working out the details, but I think I've got it figured out how I'm going to make a little semi frost cover greenhouse kind of thing. That way I can keep these longer, because I'm scared we're going to have a really cold winter this year, and I want to get these things covered so the snow and the ice or whatever, because we usually get ice around here, it doesn't totally wipe it out, and I can keep my greens longer, and hopefully all the way through the winter, even into the springtime, I can keep succession planting them, or do the cut and come again method, to where you cut and they just keep growing and growing and growing as you cut them, and keep them through the spring, and then we can tear these out and get ready for our summer vegetables after it gets too hot for them. So we'll come back this afternoon once I get off work, get this bed cleaned out, and you can watch me do that. Hopefully the kids will be out here helping me then. We are back out here in the garden this afternoon, and you seen I got some tools out. We got the little hand tiller, and a leaf rake, and then another hard tooth rake, like a garden rake. And we're gonna start moving this hay out of the way real quick so we can see what's underneath it and see what our dirt looks like. Plant sunflowers, you're going to have a lot of dirt that's going to be coming up out of the holes with the roots, because their root system is pretty massive to hold these things up. As you know, you would have seen that they were at least 13 foot tall when we measured them. So just plan on them having a big root system and losing a lot of dirt in those little areas. Ooh, it's got ants on it. So as I am raking this back, there is not a whole lot of hay left. There's a little bit back up there in the grass and down the center row, but it has broken down pretty fast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work over here on this grass to see what kind of hay I can get out of there, get this cleaned up, and then we're going to do a little hand tilling just to fluff the dirt back up and get it aerated, and then we will get to planting here shortly. But there's not a whole lot of hay left. And it being fall season, everybody's supposed to decorate, so within the next month and a half or so, there's going to be hay bales lined up on the road. So be a sweetie and call me if you see any hay bales on the road. Be like, Casey, it's over here at such and such. I will be there to pick it up. Logan's picking flowers. He said he wanted to decorate a little bit.
I found one big yellow one from over there, like that big.
Really?
Yeah, that one's pretty.
Mm-hmm. Make sure you go put them in a jar too. So if they say we go by the brown stripe on the back of a fuzzy worm to see how harsh the wintertime is, we're screwed. He's like a third brown. Alright, little buddy. They've been eating up my peas too. So you can stay for a while, I guess.
Look at all them bugs in there. Alright guys, so we got, sun in my eyes, we got the 2 barrels that were over there, the cherry tomatoes, we got those in there, and we got it all aerated, kind of hand tilled up. I'm fixing to go measure what I am thinking about putting on this and see which way it's going to have to go. And that'll kind of tell me which way I want to run my rows, because I've got to be able to get in and access them. But depending on which way my dome cover runs, whether it go this way or that way, determines where I need to enter and how I need to run my rows. So we're going to go measure that real quick and see which way we need to do the rows and take our planning from there. All right. Since we got our bed ready, you okay? Yep.
You're swatting flies over there. I'm going to show you what we're going to plant real quick, and then we're going to go over here and see how we're going to lay them out. I know which way I'm running them. I'm running them north to south because the covering that we're going to put on there is almost 12 feet. So I'm going to run it north to south and then have our opening on this end where we come in the garden here. So that way we'll just be able to roll it back and then pick our vegetables. Now, I don't order anywhere specific or anything like that. I have a collection here from Walmart, Dollar Store, and Rural King in Martin. So the first one, and I've never had any trouble with any of these anywhere that I buy them. You know, so I'm not going to announce, you know, one provider or another. So a seed's a seed to me. As long as I can get it to germinate, it'll grow me something. The first one is this lettuce, the black seeded Simpson. Harvest is 45 days. The next one is salad bowl lettuce, and it is 45 to 50 days. The next one is butter crunch, and it is 50 to 60 days. These three I'm going to do some succession planting because I do have another pack of these. So I'm going to do like half a row of these, and then in a couple weeks I'm going to do another, the other half a row, because you can do the cut and come again method with these. And what that means is after they come up to maturity, you can take some scissors and just cut them, and then leave the rest of the plant in the ground, and they will continue to grow again. And so they'll continue producing until it gets too hot, or if it gets too cold on them. The next thing we're going to try this year is radish. And I've got the French dressing radish, which is a long skinny one like a fingerling. Then I've got the sparkler white tip and the early scarlet globe. I'm probably going to do just 2 rows, and I will do I'll do just kind of like just a third on one end, and then one in the middle, and then one on the end in 2 rows. Just kind of do it like that, and that way I can keep up what I planted where. And then these, like I said, they're each going to get a row. So I'm going to have 5 rows in this bed. And these will be about a foot apart. For the lettuce, I'm just going to go down through and kind of scarcely sprinkle them. Not too close, but not enough to where I'm probably going to have to thin them out or anything, because I hate thinning anything out. It's just food that's lost to me. And then the radish, I will be a little more strategic on where I place them. I think you have to do them like a couple inches apart. Seed spacing for this one is 1/2 to 1 inch. This one, plant 1 to 2 inches, and this one 2 inches. So I'm gonna stick around 2 inches for the radishes. The lettuce does say if you want to go and do the wholesale thing in the tray, they do say in here that you thin to 7 or 8 inches, thin to 4 inches, and then thin, it says 3 to 12 inches. So I'm just going to go through there and scarcely kind of just sprinkle them like we do the carrots, and they'll be just fine, because that's the way I planted them on the other side over there earlier this year in the flower bed that was not prepared for any kind of seed, so it didn't do too well. But that dirt was just plain old dirt, topsoil. It didn't have any nutritional value in it for the seeds anyways. So let's get to planting these real quick. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do the radishes on this side, the lettuces on this side, and I'm going to mark the rows where I'm going to plant them. And then I'm going to take she's got my markers here that we're going to put in after we get the seeds in the ground, so I can kind of remember where they are. And I'm going to use my foot in between the rows, so that'll be kind of like my walk-in area. And I'm going to plant the seeds in the loose dirt in between them. So let's see where these are going to be marked at real quick. Well, I'm just looking at the rows first. Do one there. And do one there. Okay, so those will be the 2 rows for that. And then here. Okay. So, don't worry about that right now. That's the black. You gotta go in low because I took them. No matter which way they go. Okay, so I've got them marked out where they're going to be. I'm going to walk down between the packs So you'll see the mounds. Alright, I'll show you how we do this. You want to get any of the big dirt clods out that you see. Like I said, God gave us tools, we need to use them. So we're just going to use our hand, come down through here. And it's about, you usually plant these a quarter to a half an inch deep. So I just do a little trench. Lightly go through and sparsely drop them in that trench. A little bit closer, they're jumping. You got some planted over here. Okay, do a little bit more. Okay, and then you take it and just lightly rake your dirt back a little bit. You stepped in my row. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him.
Hey, nothing planted there though.
Not yet. Alright, so we've got this row planted and that row planted. Moving on to the third lettuce and then to the radishes. Guys, we got them all planted and we got the markers there. The next thing we got to do is to put a light watering on there because the dirt that we got out of the barrels is pretty dry, and then we mixed in a lot of hay, so it's kind of on the drier side. We're going to do a light little shower watering and keep it moist for the next 2 or 3 days up to a week, but it's going to rain Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so I'm not worried about that. I've just got to keep it lightly moist, and I'll check it in the morning and in the afternoon, but got to keep it moist so it'll germinate. So we'll do that real quick. Some good looking dirt. It's good and dark. Gin trash is breaking down really good. Saturate it pretty good because this is the first water and it's going to be wet on top, and then once you go over there and move it, it'll be dry underneath. If you're worried about washing away the seeds or anything like that, you can pre-wet your dirt if it's where, you know, you're not going to be in just a big muddy mess. You can pre-wet the dirt and then put the seeds in moist dirt and cover it with some cardboard that's wet, or a wet board, something like that, that's going to keep it from being washed away. Like, especially in the springtime, it can be really, really rainy. That's why, one, it's a good thing to start your garden in the fall where you're not fighting the rain, because if you wait till the springtime, it's a nightmare. But if you're worried about it raining or being windy or anything like that, and you have some tender seeds like carrot seeds, mustard seeds, lettuce seeds, anything like that, you're worried about it going away, being blown away, washed away, you can cover it with the cardboard or the piece of wood board until they germinate. Once they germinate, you can remove it because they are rooted and they're not going to move after that.
I could do it myself. Hey, she get over here.
Alright guys, so that is it for today. We got 3 types of leaf lettuces planted and 3 different radishes planted. Those will be up in about a month and a half. So by the middle of November, getting close to Thanksgiving, we will be harvesting this stuff. You can cut it whenever it's young and use it as microgreens and lettuces and stuff. Or you can let it go to maturity before you start harvesting it. So I'm excited to see what happens, and I'll be bringing you back in the garden tours to show you the progress, especially whenever they start coming up. So the next thing we've got to do, not today, next thing we're going to do is pick the green beans, and pretty soon, probably after tomorrow, because it's going to be like 80 tomorrow. After tomorrow sometime, I'm going to see how the green beans are producing. We may get to pull those out, and that way we can go ahead and get the other lettuce and cauliflower planted over there and get it ready to be covered up if needed. I doubt it, but it shouldn't frost anytime soon, and we shouldn't have to cover it up. So thanks for stopping by and doing the garden with me today, me and all the chillers, and we will see you next time. Bye guys. God bless.